Let's do it to the computer. And then I know I've got it. Who knows where the cloud is connected to? Don't want it floating off. Okay, and it says it's recording, so good. All right, so this week, as I mentioned, I wanted to talk to you about some of the things that we do when we want to book an event, both in the past and currently with Jenny's business. And a lot of people don't really put very much effort into applying for events, whether that's a stall, a stand, a fair, whatever. They just kind of ring up or email and say, you know, oh, have you got a stand or have you got any availability? And that, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, that it's good that you're kind of being proactive and contacting them and reaching out and actually getting bookings or trying to get bookings. But there can be a lot of people trying to get those spaces, especially in the more lucrative ones, the ones that are really popular, the ones that everyone wants to be at. It can be quite difficult to get into them. And we're in the season now where I'm hoping that you've got events booked. I don't know why all this crap keeps popping up on my screen. So most people will have already started or already have their bookings planned. I know Sandra is very switched on with this. I bet you've got them booked for the entire year, haven't you, and into early next year?
Yeah, I'm already booking into next year.
There you go.
Yeah.
I knew she would, I knew. And that's because when you find an event that you go to and you realize that you do well at that event, or it's a really good fit for you, or it's one that you just enjoy attending, because some of the events that you might do are actually as much a social event as they are for earning money. You know, it's about, it can be quite lonely being self-employed. So actually being at an event with people that you know, both stall holders and customers coming back, it's that lovely kind of social interaction. So it's much, much more than just attending the event itself. But they get very, very booked out and word spreads. So once there is a good event, people tell other people. And if you don't book early, it's quite hard to actually get in. So the earlier that you contact people, the better. And if you miss out on something, make sure that you have an absolutely solid list of what the event was, when it was held, where it was held, and who the organizer was with their contact details, so that you can go back next year when you're ready for booking those and make sure that you are absolutely on top of things way early. I mean, way early. But this year we've managed to have some really good success. One particular event that we've got Jenny into is the York Christmas Market, and they only have 60 stalls in total. And I know people who have been trying to get onto the York Christmas Market for over 20 years and haven't been able to be successful at all in actually getting into the event. And we got in first time, first try, no problems at all. But because we followed a very, very specific system and we are effectively marking off all of the things that the organizer is looking for in someone that they want to collaborate with at their event. So some events, it's just like, you know, we've got this event on, there's 20 tables, it's however much money, and it's first come, first serve. But a really well organized one, and especially as you start going into the, you know, higher moneyed events, they have very, very specific criteria. And this is a way for you to sometimes leapfrog, even when they're telling you, oh no, you know, we're not looking for anyone else because we've got a soap maker or we've got a candle maker or we've got such and such. And that's what we got at first when we contacted York. It's like, oh, we've already got people who do candles. They weren't interested. But I put the application form together that literally ticked off every single thing that they look for in their criteria list. And when you do that in the right way, they can't actually say no to you because you're the top as a fit for them in every way. And a lot of the bigger events actually score you on a point system. So you're looking to get points in every single area, and that will bring you above half of the people who might have been actually trading there for years. So hopefully I can share a few little snippets that that you'll enjoy. Let me see. What did I do? Okay, so I think I did it in Canva. Yes, I did. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. And it's this one. All right, let's go to this. Let's make it nice and big so you can read it. So this is, I'm going to go through the questions and the elements in most of the higher tip. These are the most difficult ones to get into. So if the place that you're hoping to attend has an application form, it will ask a lot of these questions. They may ask them in different ways, but effectively they're looking for very specific things. If they don't have this, it's still really, really helpful to set you apart from all of the other people by marking off some of these key elements. And what we're trying to do is to align your brand with their brand. So all of the things that make you special and unique, your unique selling points, your eco-friendly policies, all of the things that you have in place in your business, your story, your narrative, all of that. And we're making it tick and align with everything that they believe, either in their event or in their business or brand or whatever it is. And we're trying to make that match so that they, oh, this is absolutely perfect for our event. So these are the things that they normally put in, and then we'll look at how and what you can do to align yourself. So the first thing is always your name and your contact details. Double check your emails and always make sure that you put a mobile number in there so they can actually contact you. Quite often they will ring you and have a chat with you. They want to maybe just get a little bit of a vibe for who you are, or they might have some questions. So always make sure that they are correct. And then normally they will ask you for your social media links, which is why your social media is so important. You might not think it is, but even for getting onto a stand or a stall or a craft event, they want to know what your social media links are, because they are looking for a partner who is going to be promoting that event. Any kind of event that you go to, it's not just about them doing the marketing. It's a two-way street. And actually, it's much, much more than that. Every single person attending and who's part of promoting that event should be involved in the marketing of that event, not just leaving it up to them and then sitting there saying, well, that was a terrible event. It's going to be terrible if everybody doesn't get off their backsides and push it and let people know that the event is on. So they want to know what your social media links are. They want to see what kind of image you're putting out there, how active you are, etc., etc. So that's a big plus in itself. And even if you've only got, let's say that you do most of your stuff on Instagram, but you do have some other platforms, put them all down, because the more that you can actually list there, the more diversity it shows them. The next thing that you might get asked is, have you actually traded at that event in the past? So it might be several years ago, but that doesn't matter. They like it when people are coming back and wanting to work with them again. And it definitely scores you extra points. So always, always, if you have done the event, tell them. If you haven't, then have you attended not as a stall holder, but have you actually attended in person? Have you visited it? Because that also shows that you're still actually, you understand what the event is about and you're participating in the event. So that's still huge points just for that. So in this instance, we actually put, no, we missed out on last year at York, but we have traded at Sheffield, Manchester and Leeds Christmas markets. So what we're doing here is showing that we've got experience of similar types of events. So it's not just no, because that's not going to score you any points or build any relationship with them at all. So you can put that. And further on, we have actually put in there that we've attended York many, many times as a family. So we've expanded on that as well. And then the next question that they had in their application was, what other markets do we hope to be trading at this year? And they want to know that you're not overstretching yourself. They want to know that, not all, but some of them, they don't like it when you're hiring staff, for example, to run the stall. You know, if it's your business and your brand and your products, they don't necessarily want a 16-year-old stuck on the stand who is just going to be on their phone all day and knows nothing about the actual products or brand. So all of these things get asked and can help you no end. This one is really important when you're filling these in. They'll ask you what you're proposing to sell. And you need to be super specific. And they normally ask you to be specific, but you need to list everything that you want to sell. Don't just put soap or candles or something like that. Really list it. So here, they've said you're not permitted to sell any items that aren't listed, and they're really, really rigorous. They come around and they check all of the items being sold on each stall. And it also allows them to determine who can sell what if they don't want duplicate products. This is also where, by listing out the different types of products, you can sometimes get in with some of your products and not others. So if they have a soap maker already, for example, and you have body butters, hand creams, bath bombs, you know, all of the other products as well, and that company's just soap, they may allow you to actually still sell the other products, but not the soap sets. And that is a way in the door for them to see that you're a quality brand, that you display your products properly, you know, that you react with the customers in a really positive way. It's a great way for you to get a foot in the door. And I've actually seen this work over and over again, where they've loved the products and the brand so much once they've actually been there that they've allowed them to sell the soap as well. Even though someone might have been selling at that particular event for years. So it doesn't stop you sometimes selling your soap as part of a gift set, but maybe not on its own. But once they know you, like your products, etc., it's a really, really great way to still get in. And this is where having your contact details and things there, and even going back to them if they refuse you, being able to say, you know, if they turn you down and on the refusal, it's because they've got another soap maker, you can go back to them and say, I would really, really love to collaborate with you on this event. Could I come and not sell the soaps? I've got a great range of other natural cosmetics that I can sell as well. So don't ever take no as a no. Always talk to them and even ask them for feedback. You know, what did they like about your application and your brand? And what were the things that stopped them from allowing you on this time? Because the more feedback you get, the more it's going to help you to move forward. And I know these are maybe not things that you've thought about doing in the past. If you get rejected, it's just, we take it personally, but don't. Just think of it as a business and not you personally, and get as much information and guidance from them, because understanding what their criteria was and how they've actually come about that decision is super helpful. And when you have that physical chat with them, it can literally change things. I've literally had people change their minds and give us a spot when we've already had a refusal. So so don't ever take no as a no. It just means you've got a new opportunity to talk to someone about your brand. So in this instance, we listed quite a few things: hand-dip taper candles, dip dye marble taper candles, Christmas themed candles. So we put this one in a bit sneakily. So this is all her taper candles, but we put Christmas themed candles, meaning we could, if we wanted, sell normal container candles, scented container candles based around Christmas themes. And that's quite important, because I know for a fact that when Jennifer tried to get onto the normal market at York, she couldn't, because there were other candle makers there. But when we put this application in, we were successful. And this is the biggest one of the year. This is the one that no one can get onto. So it's about how you're phrasing things in here. Advent candles, candle gift sets, candlestick holders, and candle accessories. Candlestick holders, I don't know how many of you sell candles, but candlestick holders accounted for about 1/3 of all sales last year for her at the Christmas events. So they'd buy the candles and then she'd upsell them. So she'd say to them, do you need a holder to go with that? Whether that was for themselves or whether that was a gift. And if they said no, they didn't, or they were umming and ahhing whether the person had one or not, she'd give them some pointers as to other things that they might have in the house that they could use as a candle holder, which people absolutely loved. Little hints and tips that you can give them, even if they're not buying, really, really help them understand your product and how to get better use out of it. And then the candle accessories, that means if she wants to, she can sell all of the other bits and pieces, matches, scissors, snuffers, anything. Absolutely anything that she wants to. So it's not really impacting on another candle brand if they were there selling their products, because they're very, very different, but it does allow her the flexibility to still sell those. And then they ask you about your product or offer, and they've actually given us some guidance. So think about quality, origin, handmade, and eco-friendly. So they're actually asking you very specific questions. So we've put a whole load of information together, and what we've done is use ChatGPT, and I would really suggest that you use AI for every single section of this. Make sure that you put all of the information about your brand in there first to prime it, then put all the information into ChatGPT or whoever you're using about the actual event itself. So everything that you know about the event, go to the event organizers page and look up information. I'm going to do that now. I'm actually going to go to, this is Make It York, who run the York Christmas Market. So whether you're doing something like Chatsworth House or a stately home somewhere or any kind of event, they'll normally have some kind of page. If they don't have a full website and it's a smaller event, what have they been posting on social media? What are they saying about the event? What is the purpose of the event? I literally go through all of their website. I go through their news section, because there's anything that they feel is important, they'll put in their news section. Their About Us is absolutely huge. So when you go to the About Us section, it will tell you all of the things that they feel are important, what their goals are. So if it's run by a local council, for example, or a city or wherever, they're going to have all sorts of stuff in here that you can use. They've got information on culture, events, and markets. And they're also looking for visitor economy. You can go through every single section here and you can see what they say about their own events. Not just now, but historically as well. So they say that this market is one of the best in the UK, and they go through all of the bits and pieces that they believe they are. And there's lots of things that you can see here, and you can literally go into each of these. These are all of the things that they're super proud of. So cut and paste all of the information from any of these into ChatGPT to give it some context. And then if we go back, that was the About Us. They've got all sorts of stuff in here as well about what their goals are as an organisation, what their ambitions are for up to 2025, about heritage, about emissions, their eco policies. Everything is right here on these pages. You've got their annual report. All of this can be stuffed into ChatGPT along with your brand information, all of the stuff about your narrative, everything. And then ChatGPT will match the two together and show you how you can create that bond so that you become the person that they pick. That honestly is such a huge thing. And don't forget to go to their social media as well, because their social media pages will have all sorts of information specifically about the events, especially from last year. There'll be very little from this year, but you can go to previous years and look at when they started putting stuff out. What were they talking about when they were actually marketing the event to the public? And then use all of that, but use the same words even that they're using back to them, so that you're talking the same language. So we put a whole thing together, the home of exquisite hand dipped taper candles. We've aligned, so we're saying, we've looked at what they're saying. So they're looking for handmade, so ours are hand dipped. So I'm aligning myself. And then as we go through each of these things that they're asking us, although they're saying think about, they're saying we want to know about the quality, the origin, whether it's handmade, and how eco-friendly the products are. So you know what their criteria are because they're telling you. If you read between the lines and you look at what they're putting out on their pages and their social and in the actual form itself, you can see exactly what they're looking for from you. And ChatGPT will do all of the other bits. So I've said we specialize in 2 captivating styles, the dip dye and the mesmerizing hand dipped marbled candles that are perfect for seasonal and Christmas decor and gifting. So we're aligning ourselves to the fact that they see themselves as one of the leading Christmas markets in the country. And they were asking about the origin and quality. So this is where the next bit comes in. Crafted with the utmost precision and love, each piece celebrates individuality, colour and joy. That's part of Jen's brand story. And we're aligning it with their beliefs and the things that they're wanting. These high quality premium candle styles are an exclusive offering rarely seen in the UK. And then I've put that the unique designs make a real impact on display. What are they looking for as an event? They're looking for a stand that is going to look fabulous and bring people in, something that people are going to talk about and that they're going to share with other people, because that's going to get more people to their event. So can you see how I'm ticking off all of the boxes for the things that they're asking in here? And then we're saying that we're a family-owned Yorkshire-based business spanning 3 generations of passionate women. We embrace the power of positivity and creativity, all part of our ethos. And then here we're bringing the narrative in. Candles come with a story, a message of hope, happiness and positivity, making them more than just a product, but an experience to cherish. Then they'll ask you when you want to attend. Some of the events are a one-day thing. Some of them are in phases. So on Christmas markets, especially big Christmas markets, some of them split it up. So even if it's a 6 or 8 week event, you can do it where it's just 1 week. You can ask for 2 weeks, or you can ask for the whole event. And then you have to look at what the price is for the different amount of days. And you're better off putting down more rather than less, because if you put one down and that's already gone, you've got no other fallbacks. But if you put down several, you can pick and choose or go for the whole thing. And then they'll ask you normally to submit pictures of your stand. Now, if you've never done an event before, that's really difficult. So when you do an event, make sure that you take loads and loads of pictures. And every time you go out and do an event, take pictures. You can use them for your social media. You can use them when you're going for a new event. Really, really helpful. If you haven't done an event though, mock something up, even in the living room or in the garden, wherever it is, just mock something up and take stunning pictures of how the stall would look. And whether that's the whole stall or sections of the stall, give them as much information to make them be drooling over your stand and how beautiful it looks. One of the other things that they had in here was they were asking for eco policies, and they had quite a big thing on asking you about your eco policies. And they had information that we found about their goals. And they had quite a lot of information actually when we actually dug around. They had recycling policies in place. You had to take your rubbish away with you at the end of the day. They want you to be using recycled packaging, compostable packaging, all of the things. They had a whole list of different things. They had things about how much travel you were doing to the event, because York is in an area where it's a lot of park and ride. They don't want a lot of vehicles in the city centre. So we were able to put all of that in there and then put down what our values were. So we value earth and safety as much as we value our customers. We went through, the vegan friendly, recycled packaging. Even the packaging is made exclusively by a local business as part of our commitment to work with other local brands. So right there, we're saying not just that we're eco-friendly and not just that it's recyclable packaging, but we're also saying we're a local business and we try and work with other local businesses, which is a huge tick because they will be doing the same. They'll be favouring local businesses over businesses from other parts of the country in an event like this. And then we have 10 solar panels. We've been using solar power in our business now for over 25 years. So we've put that we're powered by solar energy. We've put that it uses natural waxes and making our candles a beacon of sustainable practice. So can you see how I'm trying to align the things that we do with the things that they're looking for in a brand? I've gone into our experience, how we've got over 30 years of experience in the industry. This is something that a lot of people miss out. How many years have you been making? Even if it's not a long period of time, you've done training, you've done courses, you've got CPSRs, you follow the cosmetic regulations or the CLP regulations or whatever regulatory body you're with. Make sure that you actually put all of this in here and show them that you are a quality brand that conforms to the industry standards and that you understand that there are specific standards for your types of products, because a lot of people who contact them don't know, and they certainly won't know that some of the products are regulated. A lot of organisers have no idea on that at all, but showing that you know puts you as an authoritative figure in their eyes. And then this is where the narrative again comes in. We offer our customers more than just a candle. We offer them an unrivaled and unique candle and a wonderful buying experience when they visit us at a Christmas market that carries a special message of positivity to light up lives. So this is where our story and narrative on the brand is being pulled in to align with the things that they're looking for in someone attending their event, because they're wanting someone that's going to shine for them. They put a lot of effort in the year into putting that event together. To a lot of people, it probably feels like they've stuck 2 posters up and a couple of posts and just turned up to take your money. But the reality is they can be working on putting that event together for an entire year. So they're looking for someone who they feel that they can rely on and is going to put as much care and attention into it and make the event shine as much as they want. Then they're looking for images of the stall, the presentation, the products themselves. So lifestyle images are really good here, where you can actually show it, in a beautiful setting. Lovely pictures of the soap, maybe in a bathroom setting. Really give as many lovely pictures of the product as you can. If you can't add enough images or you have trouble, sometimes with these forms, they've got these wonderful fancy forms and they ask you to upload images. And actually, when you try and upload more than one image, it doesn't allow it. send them a separate email and say, you know, I really wanted to showcase the products and the images to you, but I was unable to upload more than one, and then attach them in a file for them so that they've actually got them. And that also means that they're alerted to your application before they get the form. So they're already getting a little bit of a bond with you and a little bit more information about you, and they're getting to see the product before they even look at the application. One of the things that they wanted everybody to do is they wanted to know whether you would offer a 10% discount to York residents. Again, this aligns with the things on their webpage because they have special things in place at York itself where residents get 10% off in some of the shops. You know, it's kind of a card system. So they get a residence card and that entitles them to all sorts of discounts and bonuses. So if you're willing to sign up to something like that, if they have something in place, why not? Because they're going to promote you. You're going to get far more eyes on your brand when you actually sign up to something like that than when you don't. So something that we found, they wanted to know in the next section, in-depth information about eco policies. And one of the things about York is that they want to be carbon neutral by 2030. So this is our chance to shine and really show our commitment from an eco perspective. And I know many of you also have eco policies, or sometimes they're things that you do without even thinking about it, but they do actually fit completely and will align in different ways. So we're deeply committed to sustainability and fully support the City of York Council's aim for York to become carbon neutral. In alignment with this vision, we've implemented several key strategies to minimise waste and enhance our recycling efforts, ensuring our operations contribute positively to the city's environmental goals. You probably haven't put anything like that into an application form before, but that gives you points. And that's exactly what they're looking for. They're looking for people to take the waste away with them at the end of the day. They do not want overflowing bins and rubbish blowing around all over the place. And they don't want more difficulty with getting rid of that waste and more landfill in their area. So try and think about what their goals are, what they're saying about it, and make sure you put something in there that aligns. So then we've gone on and we've given them 6 specific points. Each of these aligns perfectly with the things they were asking about or commented on. So one was sustainable sourcing. We went through and explained where we actually source from. One was eco packaging. One was our minimal waste production. We use every scrap that we can in our production process. And I know a lot of you do too. You're not about waste, you're about saving things. But how many times do you actually ever put anything about having a minimal waste production? You probably never even thought about it in that way. Probably if you're from Yorkshire, you'll be tight and not wanting to waste anything. And it's second nature. But actually, it's a key positive in your brand. You're probably just not phrasing it in that way, but it really can be utilized to very, very good effect. So our production process is designed to produce minimal waste. We've implemented measures to reuse and recycle candle remnants, defective products in-house, and any wax remnants are repurposed into new candles, ensuring nothing goes to waste. Now, you probably do the same with soap scraps. You've got ways that you can resell them, that you can give them as samples, repurpose them, etc. But do you ever actually put it down as a selling point for your brand? But it is, and it should be part of your eco story. Energy efficiency. To reduce our energy consumption, our facilities utilize energy efficient lighting, low energy melters. You've probably all got energy efficient lighting. Would you ever have thought to put it into your application form in the eco section? Probably not, but it will tick the box and it will align with them. Furthermore, we have our own solar panels. Da, 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 da. Now, you might not have solar panels, but where you are doing things, put it in there. Just try and think about all of the things that you actually are doing, right down to the tiniest little thing. And ChatGPT will help you. You can ask it, you can say, I want to fill this section in, and I'm not quite sure. Can you ask me some questions and help me answer all of these so that my brand aligns well? And it will do it for you. Energy efficiency. So the next one was community engagement. I have no idea why they had a whole section on community engagement, but they did. So we said we actively participate in community programs and environmental initiatives. We host workshops on sustainable candle making, educating the community on the importance of eco-friendly practices and how they can contribute to a more sustainable future. You probably write blog posts. You probably write social media posts. You're probably educating people when you're talking to them on the stand. But what you need to do is to put it into words that an event organizer can understand and tick the box to show that, yes, you are doing all of these things. They're just probably not things you've thought about in that way. Is this helpful? Yeah? Okay. Continuous improvement. We're committed to continuous improvement and regularly review our practices to identify areas where we can further reduce our environmental impact. This includes staying abreast of advancements in safe, sustainable materials and practices within our industry. That covers a wide range of things, but it completely ticks the box. And this is something that we've done since we started our brand. We're always looking at what else we can do. And it's not just about the environmental things, but it's about aligning all of the different things in your brand. So to sum up, we believe that these contribute positively to the collective goal of carbon neutral York. So what I'm doing is I'm saying all of the things you're asking for, you've got right here in our brand. So I'm saying it back to them. We're excited to be part of this transformative journey and look forward to collaborating with Make It York, the City of York Council and the local community to achieve these shared sustainability goals. Would you ever have thought of putting that in there into your application form? Probably not. But can you see why it stands out as an application? As opposed to someone emailing saying, can I have a stand? It's very different, and you'll get very, very different results at the end of it. So I said we're open to any suggestions and further discussions on how we can contribute to York's environmental objectives. So we're saying if you've got any ideas for us, or we can help further, let us know. We will remove all our waste and packaging daily for recycling. Once the stall is set up, we'll be limiting car use and help to keep the area less polluted. So again, I'm telling them the things that they told me were important to them. I'm literally quoting back to them. So it's an absolute perfect match for what they're looking for. The next thing they asked for was the location or zone. I went for Parliament Street Zone 1, which is the top area, the core area. Now, not everyone will start at that end, but it's going to be a very, very busy area. And it's going to cost more because it's in Zone 1. But the goal is you need to pick where you feel most comfortable or where it's going to fit your price budget. Some of them don't have a difference in price. It's just one price for the event and that's it. Great. But if they do, really think about where you want to be. And some of them will actually go much further than this. And I'll ask you to say what your first choice is, your second choice and your third choice. And depending on what availability they've got is where they'll allocate you. Leeds last year was an absolute nightmare because they only had a few stalls in any one location. It was, we've got 4 stalls here and there's 6 stalls there and there's 2 stalls here. And you had to try and pick a location based on a couple of stalls. And it felt really, really bitty and broken up for people participating in the event because there was no natural flow. They couldn't just walk along the whole thing. If you've ever been to somewhere like York or like Manchester Christmas Market, you can stroll amount, in through all of the stalls. And even if there's a break between them, it's only a really small walk and you can see them from one place to the next. You know where you're naturally supposed to walk. And you're just walking a little bit further down that road and then you've got more stalls. Your Leeds was not like that. You had to go on a bit of a hunt for where the stalls actually were. It was so disjointed. Another thing that they might ask you, depending on the event, is what kind of stall. Are you bringing your own stall? Do you want the stall provided? Do you want a chalet? Are you bringing a pop-up marquee? Whatever it is, they want to know what kind of stall you're wanting to book or providing, and they just need to give you adequate space for. And they'll ask you all of the information about what type it is, what size it is, what frontage, everything. And they normally ask you to include photos of that if you're bringing your own stall as well. We used to bring our own stall, but I'm old now, so I don't. I let them do all of that. But yeah, we had a German style stall for a long, long time, which you just pulled on the ropes and then the whole thing just kind of popped up and then just put in fact the tables that we used to use, we had a post on Soap School Ninjas this week, the aluminium collapsible tables. And they literally are featherweight. They're really, really light and they fold down into a little tiny bag, but they pull up into a great big table. And really, really handy if you're doing stuff in a car and you haven't got room for tons of great big pasting tables and other stuff. So yeah, give them information about the stall itself. One thing I would say when it comes to events, especially if you're doing craft fairs or craft marquees, we used to do a lot of stuff with something called Made in Yorkshire, and there's lots of different kind of, it's basically a large collaborative. So you joined this group, and then you paid for the stalls, and they wanted you to do multiple events with them through the year, but they got access into things like the Great Yorkshire Show and lots of events that you would find it quite difficult to get into on your own. But when you're part of a group like that and they have a giant craft marquee, you can get into the event. And they can be really quite helpful because they get preferential rates for a start, and they're putting the marquee up. And having a big craft marquee can sometimes benefit you because people who like crafts, or especially on a rainy day, they'll all gravitate into those areas. On a hot day, no one wants to be in them. So it does the complete opposite. But it can be quite advantageous. But when they sell the space on those, you need to check whether it's a shell scheme or if it's just the space. I've literally seen people turn up to the event and they've literally got a marked out area on a piece of grass and they're expecting an entire setup with tables, chairs, walls, everything. And there is nothing there but a pegged out area on some grass for you. So you need to make sure that what you're actually paying for is kind of known in advance so that you can prioritize what you actually need to take. If you are doing something that's like a chalet or something like that, they will have options as to whether you want it open fronted or whether you want it tabletop style. So again, they need that information in advance so that everything is set up for you. And always make sure if they have information on the stand size, find out. You can even contact them after you've been accepted. Don't ask too many questions in advance, but once you've been accepted, find out where you are, and you can ask questions. So if you're on a corner, for example, can you utilize the space and make a really nice display that makes it look better rather than just the table? So you might want to put a bookcase there. You know, if there's a kind of dead space and you want to utilize that, just ask them, but give them reasons to give you that extra space. You can often get quite a nice bit of extra space if you ask for it in the right way, and then you're not paying for it. Everyone else will be there with a 6 foot or 8 foot table, and you will have a better display and more options to take more money than some of the other people at the event, because you bothered to actually talk to them. Sometimes they will ask you whether you need power, and they'll tell you what the ampage is and how much it is to have power. If you're doing events such as Christmas markets or trade events, just be aware that they're not often your standard plug-in things, you know, not a 3-pin plug. Some of these are industrial plug systems, and you have to make sure that that those are either new or pat tested in advance. So that's something that you will need to check on if you are paying for power. How many of you actually put lights on your stall? Let's say that you were on an indoor craft fair and you didn't have a plug. Sometimes you can be lucky and have plugs. And did you put your hand up, Sandra? You do. Are they plug-in ones, or do you use battery?
We have different sets for different events, from just twinkly battery powered stuff to we have our own power banks. Ideally, we plug it into their electricity though.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I always ask beforehand.
Yeah. So we've been to events where there's been no power at all. We've done events at eco festivals in the middle of a field where there's no power at all, and it gets dark and you can trade right up to like 11 o'clock at night, but it's pitch black and you're in the middle of a field and you've got thousands and thousands of people there who will happily buy from you if you can be seen. So we used to have, way before solar panels, we used to have solar tubes. So when the very first solar installation went in England, we bought some of their old solar tubes, and we used those through the day to melt the oils and things. And we used to have to actually turn them. Depending on where the sun was, we used to have to keep turning and doing demonstrations depending on where the sun was. And then by 4 o'clock, we'd stick a pan of stew or something on for tea on the top of it and cook our tea. And as we upgraded over the years, we were able to put that onto a battery, and then we could use the battery for powering the lights at night time. And we were one of the only stalls at the entire eco festivals. We've done Green Up North, we've done the Big Green, all sorts of eco festivals over the years. And ours was one of literally just 1 or 2 stalls that were ever able to trade in the evening. And yet we had tens of thousands of people to sell to. And it was all because we took our own solar panels and charged the battery up. But these days, you don't, I mean, you can absolutely do that, but you can also, there's so many things that you can do with rechargeables or battery. You can literally get LED lights that will light you up and you'll be able to be seen really easily. Even in an indoor event, if you've got lights on, your stall will stand out 10 times more than the other stalls if they haven't got lights. So even if it's just little spotlights on some of your products and they're battery operated, it will still completely, as you're walking down an aisle, the stalls which are lit up just scream out at the people, and it's an instant target for them. So it's making them switch on to where you are. So honestly, I would totally do it. One of the questions that they had was, I'd not had this one before, but it was in their things. Our answer was no, but they're now starting to ask whether you've ever been trained in counter-terrorism protection measures. So this is a whole new thing. So you might want to even go away and check about the information, have a look at what this is, read up on it, and then you can put down, yes, I'm aware of it. You know, I have researched this, and align yourself with that as well. But it was one that was new to me, and sadly, I think it's going to be something that more and more people will need to do over time. We're living in weird times. And then, have we got any other comments or anything else to support your application? Detail below. Never leave this blank. This is an opportunity for you to absolutely shine. So we've put, beyond our commitment to sustainability quality, there's a deep personal connection to the York Christmas Market that spans decades and 3 generations of our family. For as long as we can remember, visiting York Christmas Market is a cherished tradition. So we've not traded at York Christmas Market before, but here I'm telling them that it's something that we've supported for years, and it's something that our family love. And I'm saying that it's bringing back, happy memories. We have a dream to transition from being long-time admirers and visitors of the market to becoming an integral part of it. We want to participate. That doesn't sound very good. We want participation to not just be traders, but also contribute to the market through experience. Our candles are dipped and crafted with love to make a market look colourful and fun. So can you see how I'm saying here, it's an opportunity for me to say, our brand is going to help your market stand out. We've got something important to share that people are going to love, and it's going to be a benefit to you having us there. Our goal is to create a stall where visitors can find a piece of joy to take home with them in the form of our candles. That could be your soaps, your creams, whatever it is. Put it in a way that they can understand it, and you'll get so much more out of it. We believe that our unique offerings, combined with our Yorkshire roots and our deep-rooted connection to the market, position us well to deliver a fantastic experience that both the locals and visitors alike will enjoy. Being part of the York Christmas Market will fulfil a family dream, but also allow us to give back to a community and a tradition that we've enjoyed for years. We're excited about the possibilities of contributing to the market's legacy of bringing people together in celebration and warmth. So this is about contributing and collaborating with them to make the event good. I'm literally putting that into words. Thank you for considering our application. We're eager to contribute to the market and look forward to the opportunity to make our dream a reality. So can you see how that is quite different from, can I have a stand? Or have you got any stalls open? Now, if you haven't got an application form and it's not as detailed as that, that's probably as detailed as you're ever going to get. That's your A game application, where they're looking and giving you point scoring on they've got very, very limited availability, because when people go to that event, they never want to leave. So the places that they do have are really, really limited. So they're really picky about who they're going to have, because they believe that their event is one of the best in the country. So they're looking for brands that are going to align with the things they believe in and that level of quality. So you need to showcase all of the things that tick it off. But even if it was a local event and you were worried that you might not be able to get in because there might be other sellers there, how can you make yourself stand out in the eyes of that organizer. Put all of the things that you have into ChatGPT or whoever, and ask it to even put bullet points about, your eco-friendly policies, your sustainability policies, about working with local businesses, all of the things about the fact that you're a local business, everything that you can that will help them see you in a positive light. ChatGPT will put all of that together for you, and it will put bullet points into your letter of application, so it's easy to read for the person reading it. And I can guarantee you they will never have had an application form like that, or an application email like that. So it automatically puts you miles ahead of all of the other ones that they've got saying gives a stall. And I honestly think it's just as important putting that into your application as it is into your products. I know every single one of you puts so much care and thought and attention into every element of your products, the ingredients, how you make it. There's so much care and love for the things that you're doing. And you just need to translate that in the right way and show some of that in your letter of application or your application forms. And it honestly will transform the results that you get and which events you actually get to be part of. What was your biggest takeaway from that? Anyone? Join in. You can open mic and just just chat.
I think the power of GPT, is it?
Yeah.
Chat what?
Had you ever thought about using it for something like this?
No, I don't. And I do struggle putting words, the proper sort of words. As I've got older, my brain's gone even slower.
Well, I'm exactly the same. As I've got older, I sit there and I'm blank. Or, you've got to write a whole lot of stuff. They're asking you for stuff. And then you just completely blank and I'm just like,
forget words.
It's not pretty at all. But when you put all of the information about your brand and your brand story and any narrative that you've got in there, and you give it the context of your brand properly, and then you put any information at all that you've got about that event. How long has the event been going? Who is it aimed at? All of the information that you will be able to find stuff online about that event. And if not, do an initial conversation with the organizers and be making notes, little bullet points about the things that they're telling you about the event, because you can then use them back to them, but aligned with your brand. So it all ties together. So yeah, absolutely. ChatGPT is your best friend. And if you're not sure, just if you just type into it, I don't know what to answer for this, it will help you. And if it's too generic and it doesn't fit your brand, say, ask me questions that will help you understand my brand better so that you can answer this for me. What were you going to say, Sandra? What was your best takeaway?
It's the whole story, telling them a story.
It is.
Instead of because what I have tended to do is actually make it more concise for them. Just give them like little bite size, as opposed to giving them a story of who I am and what I do.
Yeah. And story sells. It sells to your customers and it sells to organizers. They want the backstory. They want to know more about you. They can get someone to take the stall from anywhere. Why should they take you? And they are wanting to work with people who value what they're putting into it. They really do work tirelessly to make these events successful, or as successful as they can. Even if they flop, they've probably been doing an awful lot of work behind the scenes. And I never go to an event even if it was horrific, I would always still go up and thank the organizer. I might ask if I could give feedback, or ask if they wanted feedback, but I would always go up and thank them, because they can't help the weather. They can't help that there was a bigger event down the road. They can't help a lot of things that might impact on why that event wasn't a good event, but they still put a lot of effort in. So I always thank them. And that has actually helped us so much, because if an event is bad, they will have nothing but whiners and moaners all day. And you will be the one person who is thanking them and being positive, even in a little way, just taking the time to say thank you. And I always gave them a free product when I was doing the thank you. But that one thing itself got us invited to events that we didn't even know existed, because the people who organized that event, you don't realize, also probably organize other events. And some of them are very, very elite, and they only have a handful of stalls actually even available to them. They're never publicized, and they are highly, highly lucrative. And those are the events that you really want to get into. But those are only given by them actually coming to you and asking if you would like to do that event. And you'll turn up at that event and there'll only be 6 stalls there, and you'll take an absolute fortune. And those are the little things that set you apart in your brand to somebody else. Has anyone else got any feedback or questions?
Yeah, I put some in the chat. Just like, how do you find out about the events?
Oh, that's it.
And I couldn't get what the shell scheme thing was. I didn't get that bit.
Okay, so shell schemes can be different things at different events. So a shell scheme can literally be 4 poles and no table. So, and I've seen this at craft marquees at places like the Great Yorkshire Show, where people have turned up and didn't have any tables. So they've put all of their stuff into a car and had no idea that there were no tables and chairs or anything provided. It's just a space. So you need to check, if you're not sure what is provided, you need to actually check with them. Do you need to bring pasting tables? Are the tables provided? If tables are provided, what size are they? What width, what depth, etc.? Are you allowed to utilize the space behind that as well and put shelving or other things up? Can you utilize any space in front? So we used to cheat, and we used to have a folding. Do you remember when you were at junior school? They used to have these benches. All the kids sat on benches in the hall. Well, those benches fold down and get moved to one side. I'm sure they do all sorts of other folding benches, but we used to put a folding bench in front of the stall. So if we had a table, an 8-foot table, and everyone was allocated an 8-foot table, well, that's great. But I can put a bench in front of that kind of partly tucks into the front of that stall. And now I've got another entire display space in front of the stall that I can put other things onto. And I can also utilize the sides by putting some bookcases on the sides of the table or behind the table facing the customers. I could put gift sets. So knowing what space you've got is useful. So ask them whether if it's a shell scheme, what that means. So at the Harrogate Home and Gift Fair that we were just at, that is solid wooden walls that you can actually drill into and screw into. So the area that we were at, we could utilize all of that and put the shelves straight into the wood. But when we're doing the NEC, it's just plastic panels with like aluminium uprights, thin aluminium uprights with plastic panels, and you can't fix anything onto them whatsoever.
So do they tell you all of that in their sort of write-up about you know, because you can't apply and say what you want if you don't know what the setup is, or do you just put, you know,
They'll normally ask you whether you just want space or whether you want a stall or a stand. So if
okay,
you just want the space and you're taking your own, you would tell them that. If they are providing the space, once you've actually got a space, you need to know what it consists of. So you just need to know, do I need to bring tables? Do you provide a chair? There's no point taking a chair if there's hundreds of chairs all piled up in racks everywhere that you can already use, because it's taking up space and you've got to carry it in. So
yeah,
once
but
you've been accepted, contact them and ask them what is the size. Normally, a good organizer will have an information pack that they send to you, but not all of them do.
but if you're applying to try and get into the stall and
Yeah.
they've asked you what you need, do you need to give 2 examples then?
No,
If they've not told you
no.
what
Normally
it
they
is.
will just, if they'll put, if they've got options, they will put and ask
Okay.
choose, and then you just need to put which one.
Okay. Okay.
But if they've said that you're having a stall, they might not tell you what size that stall is. So then go back to them. But I would always put the application in first,
Mm,
because you want to reserve the space. The spaces go
okay.
really, really quickly once they're advertised. So get the space, and then you can find out what size table it is, whether you need to take your own or not. You can sort
Okay.
that out after you've actually got the acceptance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Right, let me go through. Can you go collect email addresses through those websites? What did you mean by that, Kate?
I didn't ask that question.
It's a Kate. Oh, that's May. That's a long time ago.
I just asked another one about how do you find the events? Is there a directory of
There
sorts
are
or
there are some directories, but not in the way that they used to be. So if you go online and you type in craft fairs or craft events or maker events, and then the area that you're looking for, there's lots and lots of online communities now where they share events. And you might want to sign up for some of the Facebook groups that are specific to your kind of the areas that you are prepared to actually travel to. And then you'll see people posting into those groups. When they've got an event, they post in there and they say, you know, we've got an event at such and such on this date we're looking for. And sometimes they'll tell you the types of makers that they're looking for or products that they're looking for, and sometimes it's much broader.
yeah, I am in a lot of those. It's just they feel a bit more like
Yeah,
community centres, like you know, like they
yeah,
wouldn't want an application like this as such. They just
yeah,
want to know that you want to pay for the table and you're going to turn up.
yeah.
It's more the bigger ones, really.
You can also sneak into events that don't really exist as an event. So I've done this many times, especially council run events. The council have tons and tons and tons of meetings and activities going on all of the time, where they've got people coming from all over the country or just people from within the council themselves. And it can be quite a lot of people.
Mhm.
And we've been able to contact them and say, you know, we would really, really love to be able to showcase our locally made products at some of your events. And they've contacted us and said, oh, we're having this meeting or that meeting. And we've been able to put up a stall at the actual event. And we've been the only stall there. We've taken hundreds and hundreds of pounds for a couple of hours. And we've got in front of other people. All sorts of different people. Some of them will even come up and say, have you ever had any grants? We've got money available for this, that, and the other. And they'll start talking to you because they've seen you and they want to then support your local business. Or they might be organising an international market or a makers market, and they'll then give you a direct invite into that event because they've seen you at something within the, the council itself. We've even done the same in businesses. So not just something like the council, but go to a big call centre. Call centres will rent out space for stalls so that all of their staff can go shopping in their lunchtime. And they're not expensive, but you're in front of thousands of people sometimes. So it's about looking outside of the normal places that you would think of going. We've had stalls at gyms. Gyms are all about wellness. So they're absolutely up for you having a stand or a stall or whatever and featuring your products. And if that aligns with when they're doing an open day or some kind of event at the gym, then you're going to get more people there on those days. But they love all of that. So if you sell aromatherapy products and you're an aromatherapist, you could even offer to do consultations for people and talk through which products will be best suited to their needs. And they're quite happy for you to go in and do that. And then you get invited back on a regular basis. And some of those gyms will then even start selling your products wholesale for you. So it's always about not just thinking about a craft fair or a maker's market, but a much, much broader range of possibilities for where you can sell your products. I think that's it on the questions. I think I covered all of those. Are there any other questions before we go for the rest of the day?
Can I just ask a quick question then?
Of course you can.
Once you've got your place at a market or event, how do you maximize your space and your appearance and everything while you're there so that you get the maximum sales, but also get invited back again and maybe have opportunities to attend other events?
It's a really good question. We've just done this with York. So we got the acceptance letter, and within 2 weeks of doing that, we actually contacted them and asked if they had any idea on the location that we had been accepted for, which they didn't, fair enough. But we also asked them if they had any dimensions and information about we've got a chalet for that particular event, but it would be exactly the same. We did this when we did air shows. So we used to do hot air balloon shows, canal boat shows, you know, the waterway canals, all of those, steam rallies, all sorts of stuff. And we asked them about the dimensions. So whether this is just a small local event in a church hall or a town hall or something like that, or whether it's a really big one, we always try and reach out and contact them about information about the stall if you don't already have it. Some of them are super switched on and they will give you an information pack. But York didn't have any information at all. And I was like, this has been running for years and years and years, and they can't give me any information about the size of the dimensions, because we were wanting to work out what shelving, what layout, what display would be perfect for that event. How can we make this look really, really good on a budget? And we needed to know the dimensions. Where is the door going to be in the chalet? Something that you might not think about, but it's huge, because if it's on the back wall, do we need to move and make like an artificial wall in front of that and store stock and stuff behind so that we can get back and still utilize a full wall? Is it worth doing that? Or is it a side door, in which case we have to have something that we can either move out the way to lock up on a night? So do we need to make that display section on wheels for the event? All of these things are little things that you need to kind of think through depending on the type of event that you're doing. We just did the Harrogate Home and Gift Fair, and I'm tight. I didn't want to pay for lighting because it's several hundred, I think it was £350 for 3 spotlights. And they're all in one place. It's not like they're all over the place, just 3 together, £350 plus VAT for that. And I'm like, I'm not paying it. But if you don't have lights, you don't even get seen. The stall is dark and dingy, and they'll look at all of the other stalls and they won't even see yours. So what we did is we went on Amazon and we got rechargeable LED lights, work lights, and we could put them up with a piece of double-sided Velcro. And those were £30, I think, on Amazon, and we only needed 2 to light the whole stall up. And all of the other places had spent a fortune. We'd spent 60 quid. Which would you do? So the more information you can ask for, the better. If they don't know, they don't know. But then normally they know the table sizes, they know if a chair's provided. If you want to be able to plug lights in, ask them if they've got a stall that is near an electric plug so that you can plug into it, or near enough that you can use an extension cord. If you don't ask, you won't get. So ask as much as possible. If you want a corner stall, ask, do they have any corner stalls available? If you've already been to the event before, I've got 2 videos up on YouTube on craft fairs and the questions to ask. There's loads and loads of hints and tips on that there. But we always prefer to go to an event first if you can, actually attend, walk around, talk to the stall holders, look at the natural flow that people are traveling around that event in, and see which side of the kind of room you want to be on. If there's multiple sections, are they moving through to all those sections, or are they just staying in one area because that's where the cafe is? So think about all of those things and ask. If you know there's a specific area that you want to be, ask, is it possible that I could be in this section? And tell them where you want to be, because the other people might not be asking. And if you've asked for that, you'll probably get that. Ask them as well, when you're doing all of this, ask them if they have a press pack. Do they have any information that you could use to market the event for them? They'll be all over that like a rash, because that's exactly what they're wanting. They're wanting you to be as proactive as possible in the event. So the more that they see that you're doing, the more they're going to want to help you. And that means you'll get a better stand, you'll get invited to more things, you're going to be seen in a much better light than someone who's just moaning about every little detail all of the time.
Can I just ask, how do you know how much stuff to take?
I will put something up into the group. There's 2 rules. You will get a feel for the event and similar events when you've done a few, but when you're first starting out, there's 2 kind of ways of doing it. So one is a multiplier of the stall rent, and one is based on the numbers of people attending. And again, if you have a look at the videos that I've put up on YouTube about running having a stall at a craft fair, they follow on from one another, and it answers a lot of those questions, but it doesn't tell you about how much stock to take. So I'll put a post up about that for you onto the VIP group.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. It's a really, really good question.
Because like with soap, you obviously have to make it in advance and it be ready. So
yeah,
you don't want to miss out because you've not made enough.
No, and we've turned up to events with an absolute car full to the rafters of stuff, and it just wasn't needed. You can still take plenty of money without groaning tables. Actually, sometimes less is more. If there's so much stuff on your stall, if it's every inch is packed, they can't actually see things. You sometimes need a little bit of white space in between things for them to be able to actually understand what the products are and be attracted to them. So don't think about putting 50 bars of every product out there. It's not needed at all. But you can have a little box underneath with some backups for some of your most popular products, so that if they start selling out, and you'll learn quite quickly which ones sell out most for you. But there's always an odd event that you do where one product just sells and sells and sells, and it's not one that you normally sell well on. And on that particular event, everybody goes for that one. I mean, Sandra's nodding. I've had it happen, and I'm like, what is going on? And then the next time you make tons of the product thinking, well, everybody really loves this, and you don't sell any again. It's just really bizarre. So there's always going to be a wild card in there, but you'll learn what your I would say you'll have 2 or 3 best sellers that you know every event they're going to be the top sellers for you. Just make sure that you've got some backup stock of those so you can replenish them.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Did it help today? Was today helpful?
Mm.
Yeah.
It is a bit of an odd topic, and I don't think it's something that, and actually that's what I want. I want for you to learn about things that other people aren't doing, because it's what gives you the advantage.
I think as well, the other thing is finding the balance between not pestering people, but do you know, like you don't want to be awkward and like talk to them too much, but you don't want to not talk to them and come across like you're not interested. So it's probably just having a few phrases to say to just engage with them, but not feel like you're being salesy.
So this is to the public, not the organisers.
Yeah, when you've got your stall.
Okay, yeah. So I remember one of my friends was putting on an event in Hebden Bridge, which is not that far away from us, really. It's a lovely place, very, very eco-conscious. And she was putting the event on, and she wanted us to go and bring our soaps. And we don't sell soap. We teach soap making. We don't sell soap. So I was like, well, but we don't sell soap, Kate. And she's like, yeah, but I really, really want you there. I just need you there. I need someone there as like a support network. You know, I just need you there. And we're like, oh my God. To us, doing an event like that is actually a nightmare because it's so much extra work, because it's not something that we're doing all of the time. But we did it in collaboration in the end with oh God, what is it? Some kind of school. Happy Clappy School.
Let's hope I'm not in it.
It's they have very alternate schooling over there as well. Most people are schooled over there, but they have some unusual schools. And they did some work with this particular school. So I said, okay, we will come and we'll do a fundraiser. So everything that we sell will actually be gifted to that school for their fundraising. So we'll do it on that basis instead. And we actually ended up getting some people involved who could help. And it was the first event that Sean had ever done when he moved to the UK. And we were the very first stall as you actually walked into the venue, which is it's actually a key spot, and it's a really beneficial location to be, because you see absolutely everybody and they see you at least twice on the way in and on the way out. So it's a really, really good place to be. And you can set the tone for the entire event if you do it right. I'm British, so I'm reserved. I will stand there and smile at people, and I'm waiting for them to ask me questions about the product. You know, I don't even want to be there. This is the last place I want to be. I've got 6,000 things to do. I do not want to be at this event, but I'm supporting my friend. Sean is completely the opposite. He's standing there and he's going, good morning, how are you? Did you park okay? Did you find the event easily? And he's chattering away to them. Feel free to smell the products. We make all of these. He's off. He's just every single person. He did not miss one person out as they came through. And it wasn't too much, because he'd only say one thing to one person, but he acknowledged them.
Mm.
When I've been to events, I see people, they look away, they look anywhere but at the person, they look down, they'll look at their phone, they're awkward.
Mm. And the other person can then feel awkward, can't they?
They do. They then feel awkward, so then they walk away and they don't want to engage with you because that awkwardness is there. But because Sean was he wasn't salesy at all. It was more icebreakers.
Yeah.
Just welcoming, hello, you know, thanks for coming to the event. Little tiny icebreakers. And it instantly switched them on to, they've been acknowledged, And some people are completely shocked just at the fact that you've even talked to them because they're so used to British people not even speaking to them.
Mm.
But they now have the opportunity to say something back, and 9 out of 10 people will say something back and they will look you in the eye and engage with you. Instantly, you've already got their attention. And then they're already looking down and they're looking at what you've actually got on your stall, not at something at the other end of the room. So always, even if you're part way round, acknowledge them, treat them like a human being, and get rid of that awkwardness. If you were working for Marks and Spencer's, you would not be looking absolutely everywhere and behind and trying to ignore them and be invisible. You'd be engaging with them.
Sarah, when we did the soap making course, Sean told us that story, and it's always stuck in my mind because he said the British people would come in and there's this friendly American and they'd go, oh, like, help, and then they'd kind of go off, but then they'd go all the way around and they'd often buy things on the, once they'd recovered from being spoken to, they would buy something on the way out.
They literally did. Some of them stopped and bought straight away, and some of them would come and say, oh, I saw you on the way in and I'm just getting some stuff now on the way out. And it was so different in the approach. And we could see, and we talked to other people on the very same event, and some of them didn't sell a single product on the entire event, but they didn't engage with a single person either. So you will get out of the event what you put into the event. Seriously.
Looking at mobile phones is a big one, because I was at an event and there was somebody selling jewellery, which was really beautiful. But she didn't know that I was a stall holder, but I was looking around and she's like this on a mobile phone, and I was stood looking at her jewellery. She doesn't know that I wasn't planning on buying, and she never, ever looked up, ever.
And I'm a bit like that. I just go, if you can't be asked to acknowledge me, you're not having my money.
Exactly.
Yes.
A smile, eye contact and a smile and just a friendly comment goes such a long way. You know, some people go to those events, and you might not be aware of this, but some people go to those events because they are so incredibly
Socialise.
lonely.
Yeah.
And that's why I hate standing behind my table, because it just creates a barrier. So I hate, And when I've had my nieces at a stall with me, just if they've come to support, that's when I make the most sales, because everyone's interested in them, and they'll go up and ask people, how many do you want to buy?
They do. I remember my son used to be with us, and he'd stand there and he'd be shouting out, 3 for a tenner, 1.99, and sometimes the price would be totally wrong, and he didn't care, and people would be just laughing, but they'd come over and then they'd be talking to him. Well, what are these then? Tell me about them. And he would. And Lawrence is autistic, but he would chatter away to them. He never had any of the fears that many of us have. I've seen people sit there with a book and they just have the head in a book and they're behind something, so you can't even see them, and they're reading. Nowadays, they're on a mobile phone. They'll do crossword puzzles. They'll go and talk to the friend 3 stalls down. They'll go out for a cigarette, or they'll go and sit in the cafe and have a bun and a coffee rather than stand on the stall. Do you know there is nothing worse than going up to a stall, seeing something you like and being told, oh, she's just gone for a fag, she'll be back in 2 minutes. I'm like, well, I'm gone. Forget it. I'm not interested. So anyway, and the other thing is, never, ever talk about or criticize people who've come up to your stall. Even if someone is criticizing your products and saying, oh, that smells disgusting, that's their thoughts. You have to respect that. Not everyone is going to like your products. Not everyone is going to like your style of products. That's fine. They can go somewhere else and buy, but your products will appeal to somebody else. But to talk about them as soon as they've walked off, I've seen it happen. I remember it was in a craft marquee, and a lady came up and didn't like the product, and she said, oh, that smells, that's awful, that's absolutely dreadful, and she walked off. and her husband and mother were walking up behind, and the stall holder started doing all of this behind her back as she was walking off, making faces and mouthing off about it. And as the next two came up, it was the husband and mother of that person. And they heard everything and saw everything. And they absolutely went nuts at her. Now, some of them wouldn't say anything at all, but they won't buy from you, even if they're interested. And other people who are around the area are going to see that you reacted like that.
But you could have used that as an opportunity to say, oh, okay, well, what sort of fragrance
What
do
do
you like
you-
then? Do you like floral or citrus or, and you know, then you could try and find them something.
You could, and if you knew there was another soap stall or another business like yours at that event or in the local area that was more in tune with what they did, you could even tell them, which will completely blow their minds and can sometimes actually completely switch them over into your brand. All right, go and have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I will put the replay of this up tomorrow, and then I'll pop the information up about how you can calculate how much stock up onto the group for you guys.
Thank
All right,
you.
if you have any tips,
Thank you very much.
share them all. Any tips at all, just share them with everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.